Hare Krishna, welcome to everybody.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
A great Sunday evening.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hoping all of you are doing fit in the COVID times and keeping Krishna in focus by reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting Krishna's names. Today, we are going to discuss a shloka that is maybe very interesting, 2.69. I presume if you have the Bhagavad Gita with you, please go to 2.69. As usual, I will chant that particular way. Before that, we will offer our prayers to Krishna, to Guru, to Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnana Dimirandasya Jnanan Janashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabho Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome again to all of you. We will chant this in the same manner that we do every week on the Gita Wisdom sessions. First, I will do the chanting 2 times, and then I will do 1-line chanting, and you will follow me after that. That we will repeat 2 times, and then we'll all together chant once. Okay? So we are reading today from chapter 2, text 69, contents of the Gita summarized. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Again. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Purport. There are 2 classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification. The other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic men. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas a man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with the self-realization activities undisturbed by material reaction. Okay. Om Tat Sat. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Very interesting philosophical verse. The verse before this is interesting because Krishna is speaking about the person who is under control of his senses, his mind, etc. The one before translation says, therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Sthita prajna, one who is fixed intelligence. And after the shloka is apuryamana machala pratishtam, a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So here in this brilliant purport that Prabhupada is written, he's speaking about two types of intelligent people. One is intelligent because he is very good at exploiting matter. He is very good at enjoying matter, at deriving a certain type of an materialistic enjoyment. Then there's another who is very intelligent. It's completely opposite to this, 180 degrees opposite. He doesn't derive any enjoyment out of matter. He doesn't derive any enjoyment out of exploiting matter and enjoying it. Why? That's another thing. And both of them are considered to be intelligent. Both of them are considered to be intelligent. That's why one person is intelligent in exploiting matter. Let's just study both of them separately and understand what's being mentioned here. One person is interested and expert in exploiting matter. That person is called the materialistic person. His intelligence is absorbed in matter and he knows how to exploit matter. He studies matter, controls matter, enjoys matter, and derives pleasure out of it. He lives in his own bubble, lives in his own world. But there is another outside of this bubble who is watching this person doing this and doesn't have any value for it and doesn't think that is the way I want to enjoy. That bubble is going to burst. This bubble will burst. And he is outside of the bubble. He doesn't take part in the same activities like in the bubble. He is outside of it and he derives another type of enjoyment. It's a transcendental enjoyment. It's not an enjoyment to do with exploiting matter. It's an enjoyment to do with understanding the self, standing on the self, remaining on the self, right? I'll just put it in very secular terms right now. So these two types of people are both considered to be intelligent. Why? Because they are very smart at knowing what they are doing and using their focus to get what they want. In other words, intelligence is both there for the person who is materialistic and the person who is spiritual. One intelligence is wrongly used. Why? Because it is used on that temporary. Matter is temporary. Not only that, added to that, Krishna is also telling in the 13th chapter that you are thinking that matter is enjoyable and you have an illusion that you live in, the bubble that I was talking about. Inside that bubble, matter seems enjoyable to you. It's an interpretation from the data that's given to you through your senses and your mind. And you live in the bubble and you enjoy in an illusioned way. It's not real enjoyment. Because if the bubble bursts, you will die. Then your perception of matter will die, your knowledge will die, and matter is no more enjoyable for you because you don't have the instruments to enjoy and reach out to matter. Material body is not available to you. So it's a bubble that bursts. Now, in the material realm, they'll talk about it in different ways. Philosophies of various types are also propagated in relation to this. It's a very deep subject matter that many philosophers have spoken about and thought about. What is the reality? Are we really enjoying, or are we programmed to think that we are enjoying? Are we inside a simulated reality? That's like today. Now, the gaming is becoming more and more and more complex. Previously, games meant small things like, one dot is falling, and then the computer, you have computer games, you hit this dot with another, this thing, and like this. And you're given some handle or something to do it, a gaming instrument. Today, you can create a whole virtual reality. You can wear oculars. You can actually get into another world. You can create that world yourself. If you're if you know programming and you want to create a whole software, and you can get into it. And inside that, you can get into another, which that software will prepare. And this way, you can go into deeper and deeper made up realities, virtual realities, and you can be enjoying in that. And sooner you will think that you become so used to that. Like, you see all these people who do gaming. Gaming is very addictive, and they play all these amazing games now. And they're not just ordinary stuff. You can fly in it. You can actually experience flying in it. So I've gone to some of these shows. And they are short shows. They'll give you all this equipment to wear and simulated reality, and you really feel you're going in a space vehicle, and you're actually touching different planets, and you're actually getting off it. And in some of them, they even have breeze, and they have dust, and they have smell and all that coming out. Completely all your senses are taken care of, and you are in a different world. And then as soon as that 8 minutes is over, you take off your Oculus, you return back. You're back into your world, which is out of the simulation. And the point is, immediately people start thinking, I just came out of a simulated reality. Maybe I am also in such a simulated reality that somebody else has put on me. Quite possible. And now all these philosophers and thinkers and scientists do think that, yes, it's quite possible that I am already in another reality forced upon me by somebody else. And this is an important discussion that's going on. At no point of time I know what is reality. But here is Krishna explaining, Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutani Tasam Jagrati Samyami. He's telling that two types of things are going on. One is the Sthita Prajna Ka Bhasha. That Sthita Prajna, fixed person, who is woken up to self-realization, who has understood these things in the Bhagavad Gita, who has been told, this is real, that is illusion. Krishna has got two energies. One is the internal energy, Antaranga Shakti. One is the external energy, Bahiranga Shakti. The Bahiranga Shakti is matter, material world, and Maya Shakti, illusory potency of the Lord. We are inside that illusory potency of the Lord. We have been thrown inside that reality. It is a simulated reality. It's mentioned very clearly in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever these people are thinking it may be because of their experience with gaming and everything, Krishna is saying that you are inside that simulated reality, and my material nature, Mama Maya Duratyaya, through the three modes, actually is controlling you, your experiences, your mind, everything. And everything is running in your mind. It's a reality coming out of your mind. It's actually a big, huge gaming program. And you're inside it. Now, when people get to know that this is true, they become very odd, and maybe sometimes even shocked and amazed. Is that true? I thought I was gaming. When I was gaming, I'm able to go into another reality. But here Krishna is saying there are two. One is false, one is true. One is inside the bubble and one is outside of it. Both are they both are intelligent. One is exploiting matter and thinking he's intelligent and he's doing that. The other one is really fixed in real intelligence. In other words, I could say the one inside the bubble is artificially intelligent. So very amazing. In the philosophical world, they will call it, some people call it solipsism. Solitude, single, yourself alone. Solipsism means you attribute your reality to that which is generated by the mind. The reality which I observe is my own reality. I don't know about others' reality. I just know that it's my reality and I am in my reality. It's exactly like the gaming program. So this is, Krishna is saying, is going on. Yes, it is true. It's a bubble. Therefore, whatever this person does inside that bubble, in that reality, is totally different from the actual reality. So those who are situated in the reality means what? They know, I am spirit soul. I am not matter. I am not this body. I am eternal. This body perishes, but I sustain myself beyond the body. I eternally exist, which Krishna is making as a strong statement. See, he's saying that never was there a time when you did not exist nor me. O Kunti is explaining that very beautifully. The reality, existential reality of all of us, that he is pinpointing and saying that you always existed, I always existed, all these kings on the battlefield always existed. But this temporary understanding of this is my reality and embracing that reality, living with that reality, exploiting that reality, trying to enjoy that so-called reality, which goes away from your hands at death and then again throws you into dilemma. And then again you get another false reality, you're born again and again you go into another bubble. And in this way, this is going on constantly. But this flux and change is going on, but you are a constant factor. You are a constant factor. So you are the only reality as the observer of these different so-called instances. And each time you accept that reality, and that is broken by higher forces. So actually speaking, there are only two realities. One is Krishna, the absolute reality, whom Krishna is saying, Mattaha parataram na anyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. All these are strung like pearls on a thread. I am the thread holding this. Without me, nothing has got a basis. So Krishna is the ultimate foundational reality. And we are dependent on Krishna, a dependent reality, right? So in this way, we are true. We are spirit. We are for here eternally. But somehow with this covering of Krishna's material energy, temporarily we are inside this bubble and we think matter is very important and we invest in matter and we grow old and we die. That whole thing changes. So this is what is real intelligence. Real intelligence means seeing that this is going to happen to you. You are going to die. This particular reality is going to end. Right? This situation will cease. Knowing that, I should ask the question, therefore, how much will this happen? When will I be able to be in reality, eternally? Then you have awakened yourself. Then you can situate yourself in a strong footing of spirituality. Okay? So don't take anything very serious, especially those material things that happen to you. And it is going to be difficult for us to accept that. Chanakya Pandit, he said, Tyaja Durjana Samsargam, Bhajasadu Samagamam, Kuru Punyam Ahoratram, Smaranitya Anityatam. Very beautiful. He said, give up the company of these type of people. Tyaja Durjana Samsargam. The association of people who are invested in this false reality, in this false association with matter in the bubble, give up their association because it's no use for you. You just go up and down in this cycle. Bhajasadu Samagamam. Accept the association of those who are situated in the reality, outside of this bubble. Kurupunya Mahoratram Smaranitya Anityatam. Nitya means always think about the eternality of your self and the temporary nature of the things around you. Don't take these things very seriously. Smaranitya Anityatam. Always meditate on this. What is true, what is not true, what is real, what is not real, what is eternal, and what is temporary. This always keep in focus. So, such a beautiful text is Bhagavad Gita. It's actually telling you very clearly, yes, you're in a bubble. You're in a bubble, and you can watch that bubble bursting in front of you gradually. You can see your body growing older, your molars shaking up and rotting. You can see your sight failing. You can see your hair growing bald, hair falling off. You can see you're melting down, you're becoming atrophied, your flesh is going down, and you need a stick to hold yourself together. Shankaracharya very beautifully put forward that. He said that Andam Galitam Palitam Mundam Dasavihina Jatam Tundam Vruddhoyati Grihitva Dandam Tadapi Namunchati Asha Pindam. In his fantastic analysis of matter and spirit, he said, Angam Galitam, all your limbs are melting down. Galitam, going down, means your flesh is disappearing, it's all skin and bones. Palitam Mundam, your hair has fallen down. Mundam means baldy. Dasavihina Jatam Tundam, all your teeth, they are also fallen down. Vruddhoyati Grihitva Dandam, oh, you have become old and you need a stick, dandam, to keep yourself standing. Tatapina munchati asha pindam, oh you fool, but one thing alone has not melted down. One thing is not atrophied. What is that? It's the desire in your heart to enjoy matter. Tatapina munchati asha pindam. Even then, after all your body is going to, even then, the desire to enjoy this temporary matter, this fleeting material situation, this ephemeral enjoyment has not gone down. That is not atrophied. That is not reducing in size. How sad, Shankaracharya, how sad. You've not learned your lesson, right? So these two situations are always spoken about. That's it. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Satoma Satgamaya. This is considered to be asat, not real. Come to the truth. Situate yourself in the reality. This is constantly being dinned into us. But we actually get very absorbed in the world of matter. We identify with our body so much. We identify with the situation so much. And they're lost in it. If you know people who are addicted to gaming, addicted to being in the virtual world, you know what it means. They'll just be sitting there with their things inside and they're lost in their own world. And they don't like to come out into the real so-called situation. Oh, I have my wife, I have my children, I have my husband, I have my parents, I have a job to do, I have to earn, I have to work. Oh, I hate it. And I go into this illusory world. I get drunk otherwise, going somewhere and get drunk and live in another world. I get drugged. I smoke ganja, marijuana. I take some of these other drugs and I'm lost in that. I don't like the reality which I have to face, where I have to work beyond and understand what is the reality. I just can't do it. So these are very unfortunate, highly spiritually weak personalities. and they get bogged down, because the more they commit sinful activities, the more they become implicated, the more they become weaker, and the more they are attacked by material nature, and the more they go down. It is only by the compassion of a great person like Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada did. He went and picked up such people in New York, in the Bronx, such areas which are very, very powerfully low. He went there and set up his place and spoke Bhagavad Gita and these realities to them, gave them potent prasadam, chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And gradually they came out of that situation and they were able to get this knowledge, apply it, and come out of it, and then appreciate, my gosh, you got me out of this. You brought me out of this situation. I am so grateful to you. In this way, when some merciful, compassionate personality, Kuru Punyam is mentioned, Bhajasadu Samagamam, take the association of such people, because they have no investment in the type of stuff you want. They don't begrudge you. They're not, envious of you enjoying anything. They have a completely different picture of what you're doing. They feel sorry for you. You're stuck inside. And they're coming to show your hand and lift you out of it. Sometimes you may even hate them. Sometimes you don't like them. Sometimes you shoot them because you think that person is irritating. He doesn't appreciate what I'm doing. He doesn't, fall in line with me. So I don't like him. I don't like him. So this world is filled with people who will speak ill of people who bring the absolute into the world of the temporary, into the world of the relative. They don't like such persons who talk these things. They'll say you're religionists. They'll say you're a person who is, worshipping God, or you're saying something out of the world I can never experience, and it's not there within my purview. I don't believe it's real, and I hate you type of guys, because you're not with me. You don't join this gang, right? They get very frustrated when they see people explaining something different. Maybe philosophers, scientists, some thinkers will say, okay, it sounds like a good theory, but can you prove it to me? How do I know that what you're saying is true? And if you show them Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad say, oh, come on, this is religious stuff. They are biased. They're not, unfortunately, able to get into understand that the Bhagavad Gita is not just a religion that is being spoken about. What is being spoken about is the truth. It's, if you just take away that wheel of, Krishna is God and, you guys are religious fellows, you take away that wheel and actually study the philosophy, you will benefit it immensely. If you just take away that little covering, which is, your biased, prejudiced covering, which is, not allowing you to see the truth. The benefit of the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita is so, so deep. It's exactly speaking about this reality, right? So the people accuse you. You take Jesus Christ, for example. He came, we appreciate all of these persons who tried to bring reality into the life of those people who are lost in the bubble in the relative. He spoke about God. He spoke about the fact that you guys are living in a completely different paradigm, and you have to come out of it. This is what he exactly tried to do, but he did it with parables. He did with his own life example. He did miracles. He did all these things to make them believe into something else. And finally, they hated him for it. The same religionists for whom he was a part of that same religion, the Jewish troop, the high priests of the Jews, the synagogues and everything, where he went and gave his sessions and even criticized them that you have gone off the track. Actually, you have become just religious heads who have lost the real goal of religion. And you're saying something else, and he said, don't sacrifice animals in the synagogue, don't do this, you are like this. It is easier for a poor man, it is easier for an elephant to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich lost man like you to get the kingdom of God. He explained very beautifully all these things using parables and statements. He was advocating reality to a lot of people who were in the relative. Finally, they got so angry with him, they actually wanted to beat him up and they crucified him. They crucified him. But the amazing story is that he resurrected himself. He said, you can't kill me because I'm eternal. I'm spirit soul. I'm not this body. So a lot of Jesus Christ, if you look at it from the viewpoint of Bhagavad Gita, is so wonderful. If you don't look at it in terms of religion, oh, they are Christians, we are Hindus, and we don't agree with them. No, 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 no. He came to say something wonderful. And those were pertinent. In the same way you have in history, Haridas Thakur during Lord Chaitanya's times. He was born in a Muslim family. And he became associated with persons like this, and he started chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And he was absorbed in it. He became so absorbed, he left everything, and the whole day he would sit by in a small hut and get a little tulsi plant next to him. And he was just wearing a kaupin and a little towel around his thing. He was perfectly satisfied with just chanting japa. He was in a different world. And so all the Muslims actually started respecting him. Even the Hindus started respecting him because he was chanting the name of Krishna, Rama, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But the Muslims, the high priest of the Muslims, he got angry. He said, this fellow is a Muslim. Why is he changed his religion like this? Because of him, many others will not, follow Islam's instructions, Muhammad's instructions. And they were again in the relative. You see, these religionists, fanatic religionists, although they claim to be representing God, they are not yet doing it. They become fanatic and they fight with each other. So he said that I have to finish him. So it is mentioned that he was called upon and he was told that by the king, the Muslim king called him and said, I heard that you're a nice, believer of God and everything, but my priest, my high priest, my guru, my mullah is saying that you are dangerous to her. This thing, you're born a Muslim, but why are you doing this? Give him an explanation. Then he gave a very wonderful explanation. He said, the name of God is the same. I'm talking about the same Allah. I'm just chanting his name. He has got many, many different names. If you chant, and everything he gave explanation sounded very nice to the king. But this high priest was a fanatic. He said, how dare you be a Muslim and give up the religion and do this? Then he said that, no, you have to be punished. And then he argued with the king and the king had to listen to him. Although the king was not very inclined. So he said that this fellow should be publicly flogged in all these marketplaces and everybody should watch it. Anybody who professes being a Muslim and does anything Hinduish or different from his religion, this is what will be the treatment. Until he agrees to reconvert himself, flog him until there's not even a breath left in him. So Haridas Thakur did not say anything. He said, it's the will of the Lord. And he was taken to 22 different marketplaces. He was dragged and he was flogged. He was beaten and flogged repeatedly. And Haridas Thakur repeatedly chant the names of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He did not say anything. He just bore it. And it is mentioned, amazing things are mentioned. He was dragged and he was so badly beaten up. And still he was chanting the name of the Lord publicly, that many people told these soldiers who were whipping him like nothing, please, please stop it. This man is a gentleman. This person is a devotee of God. He has done no harm to anybody. He was sitting quietly somewhere and why are you doing this to him? Why are you doing this to him? He didn't trouble anybody. He didn't take away anybody's money. He didn't give any type of social disturbance. He was just doing his own thing. Why didn't you leave him alone? And some of them came and said, I'll give you money. Please stop beating him up. I can't bear to see this. And people were screaming all around. And these people were running and coming and whipping him. Because it was not enough, whatever whipping was being done. He was not dying. So these soldiers whipping asked Haridas Thakur, why don't you die? Because our job is to finish you and go back and report to the high priest. Why don't you please die? Because otherwise we will get, this. At that time, it's mentioned Haridas Thakur prayed to the Lord and said, my Lord, do not take offense at these soldiers. They are simply carrying out the order of the high priest. Please don't take offense at whether they don't know, they're just carrying out the order. Please do not get disturbed with them because they are doing this to me. He is known to have said this. So he told this thing, oh, is it worrying you? All right, I will pass away. So then all of a sudden he went into a trance. In that trance, they could, pull him, push him, and he was not reacting to anything. So they said he's dead. They brought the body all the way back to the high priest and the king. And the king felt bad that this man is actually dead. They beat him up so much, whipped him so much that he died. And the high priest was happy. And the king was asked, so what to do with him? He said, bury him, cremate him, whatever. Then he said, no. If you do that, he will become famous. The Hindus cremate their body, right? So what you should do is just throw him in the Ganges. Because according to Muslim thing, if you throw him in the Ganges, it's polluted. It's no more, this is the opposite of what we think. So he said the best thing is to throw him in the Ganges. So they swung him and threw him in the Ganges with the public watching it. And the body floated on the Ganges. For a long time, everybody was feeling very bad, emotionally disturbed. And what they did to this person called Haridas Thakur was such a nice devotee. Then as they could see, it floated and touched the other shore. Haridas Thakur got up. He was again raising his hands and loudly chanting the name of Krishna and started walking on the shore of the Ganges, dancing and chanting. And this high priest was amazed. The king heard it, he was amazed. He said, this man is truly God's man. He's Allah's man. After all this we did to him, he's alive and still chanting the name. So, people who are in reality will know very much for sure that this is real. I know it because I can experience it. And the people who are in the relative will always punish them. You have stories and stories of these type of instances, right? But they don't get affected by it. Like Prabhupada is saying in the purport, Jesus Christ was not affected by it. Haridas Thakur was not affected by it because he was fixed, sthita prajna. This is what will come about if a person is firmly situated in his identity as spirit soul. Mama ivam sa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. You are all eternally my part and parcels. This is reality. You see, a mind doesn't allow us to agree. A mind is always attached to everything in matter and material world and possesses. It's a mind that stands in between the modes of material nature acting. So we should at least know this in knowledge, in theory, and we should see it, start seeing it like that. This is the world of the unreal. I belong to the real, to a different paradigm. Smaranityam anityatam, like Chanakya Pandit said. Then at least you can say you're in knowledge. You may not be fully practicing it, but you're in knowledge. One should be thoughtful about the things happening to him in his life, what's happening in this world. And Haridas Thakur was situated in a reality. That at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not yet come to this world. He came, appeared after. Then he told Haridas Thakur, do you remember that you were beaten up and you were flogged and whipped in 22 marketplaces? At that time you prayed to me that they should not be harmed. It is I who took all this flogging on me to protect you from that flogging. And Lord Chaitanya showed his backside, all whip marks. And that is why Haridas Thakur was still able to dance and chant after all that flogging. He didn't feel it. The power of the holy name and the chanting of the holy name. That's why we may not be in that level of realization of the holy name. Lord Chaitanya called him Namacharya, which Prabhupada translates as the dean of the faculty of the chanting of the holy name. The department of chanting of the holy name, he is the dean. He's so nicely shown that if you simply depend on the holy name and vibrate and chant it, amazing things can be happen to you. You will transport yourself out of the bubble into the reality. This is guarantee given by Lord Chaitanya. And Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada came to give us this information, just like Jesus Christ came to give all of them, don't worry. And he traveled all over the world and gave this information to many who chant the holy name of the Lord, who try to situate themselves in reality, who don't want to be part of this bubble. And this indeed is really education. Education means helping people to come out of illusion, be situated in reality. This is mentioned very nicely in the Bhagavatam, in the first shloka, where it says, being able to see what is real and what is illusion. That means you have knowledge. That means you are educated, right? So these are very, very powerfully deep philosophical understanding. Not only philosophy, it's practicable philosophy. Along with this philosophy that Krishna has given, is also given us a practice of bhakti yoga. Throughout in Bhagavad Gita, when he speaks his philosophy, he's also saying, you can practice this like this and realize it. Philosophy does not mean it's good for an armchair discussion, a fireside chat, and be happy about it, and then go back to your normal bubble again. It's just we indulge in it only in terms of talking about it and feeling great about it, intellectual exercise, and go back to the bubble. Prabhupada said philosophy is great, but greater than philosophy is the practice of philosophy. So those who walk their talk, those who actually practice their philosophy are the persons we should follow. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is a person who in his life practiced this. If you read his life history, you will see that. And therefore, I for one, very closely follow the life and teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, inspired by the instructions he's given in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad Gita. So today, Gita wisdom is also from his purports. He's the person who has actually experienced the reality. He's come to tell us about the reality under God's direction. So therefore, we should take advantage of these instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita, brought to us in practical lifestyle by personalities like Prabhupada, and benefit from it. So let's all chant Hare Krishna once. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna,
much.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
If there is any question, I would be very happy to answer it right away. Arvind Kumar, Hare Krishna Maharaj, after completing 5 rounds of chanting, I am feeling relaxed for the entire day. Right? If you chant more for your entire life, you'll feel relaxed. Why only one day? The whole week, the month, the year, and your whole life. And Haridas Thakur chanted throughout. He just took off a little bit to eat something, to get to the bathroom and do something, and the rest of the time he was chanting, and he was able to do it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu highly appreciated him. That was the level to which you can go. So it's very interesting that you have discovered that 5 rounds of chanting makes you feel very relaxed. Good. Please go ahead, chant more, and you will see life will expand. The scope will expand much, much more. Okay? Right. Anybody else has a question? Anybody else has a question?
There is a question in the chat, Maharaj.
Yeah, sorry. I had not put my this thing on. What did you say?
There's a question in the chat, Maharaj.
I just answered the question. Oh, that's okay. Anjana, Maharaj, night for materialistic is awakening for self-realized. is that same as when Prabhupada hardly slept and was translating the literatures? At that time of us, all of us sleeping. Is that correct, Maharaj? Well, that's a very literal translation of it. The sloka goes beyond that to explain more, but that is maybe on our level. Prabhupada was spending hardly 1 or 2 hours sleeping every day. It's a fact. People watched him. The whole night when others were sleeping, he was translating these books, Bhagavad Gita and everything which we are reading. You're right. And in the morning, he would take out his walk when the sun rise. And during the walk, he would defeat popular philosophical theories which are atheistic. What is a scientist saying? What's a newspaper saying? What's a politician saying? What the philosopher is saying. And he would, anything atheistic philosophy, he'll use the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavad and destroy it. And they will pose, they'll have a devil's advocate type of a position, and Prabhupada will defeat them. And then he'll come back and give the Bhagavatam session in the morning after taking darshan of the Lord, darshanarati. Then he will, explain to them Bhagavatam. Then after that, he will go about meeting devotees, writing letters to his mission all over the world, and giving advice and counsel, and solving many problems, and then establishing projects, publishing his books. Many things he would do the whole day. And evening, mostly there'll be a program. Morning, there is a program. He would meet with so many VIPs, everybody coming the whole day. And the night, he would come and take rest for about 2 hours. From 10 to about 12, he'll be up again at 12. And he will sit and dictate and translate continuously for 5 hours. This was his schedule. So you're right. You can very clearly see that he is literally staying awake in the night. For him, there's no daytime, no night, 24 hours to be used in the service of the Lord. Right. So thank you for looking at it that way, Anjana. Interesting. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Krishna itself says to drink dairy products like milk, increase lifespan and purify ourselves in Bhagavad Gita. But why the vegans are against milk? Against milk and saying drinking milk is wrong and bring health issues. But we follow instructions given in Bhagavad Gita. We follow the instructions given in the Vedic literature. In Vedic literature, cow, it should be protected. That's the first thing. We don't protect cows only because she gives milk. Cow should be protected, full stop. Whether she gives milk or not is secondary. First, when you protect it, automatically she will give you copious milk, even without you asking for it. That milk is very important in Vedic culture. Why? From that milk you can make curd, and from the curd you can draw out butter, and from the butter you can make ghee. And ghee was used in all the sacrifices. Every Brahmana had a cow. Why? To produce ghee, which he would use in the sacrifices to propitiate Vishnu. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha yajñat bhavati parjanyo yajña karma samudbhava. So yajña had to be performed by all these important people, brahmanas and sages and everybody. So they all had cows. And in the so doing that, the cow's milk is drunk. Milk is so nourishing and highly filled with all the minerals and all the proteins and everything else that we need for this body. Especially children, they need for their growth and everything, milk. So the Vedic culture, we drink the milk of the cow because the cow is giving it for you to drink. That's the way nature is set up. That's the way Krishna has set it up. Krishna drank the milk of the cows in Vrindavan. Krishna ate the butter with great relish. And in humankind also, he asked us to look after mother cow. Right? So the problem is, it has not been done. Cows have not been protected. Extreme harm has been done to them. And then there are some people who feel bad about it. And then there's an extreme philosophy now, the vegans saying, don't kill, don't even touch the milk that's coming. That's meant for the calf. Actually, the cow produces much more milk than the calf will take normally. And that excess milk only we use. We also have cows here in our temple, and we make the calves drink all the milk that they need. And excess milk is taken and offered to the Lord. and we make all sweets and everything and distribute it to people. Right? So vegans have a good philosophy because they are non-vegetarians, but I think they are extrapolating it a little too much. But I don't mind it because at least they don't eat meat. So we have restaurants all over the world, many places, and some places we serve vegan food, which means it's devoid of anything to do with dairy. We serve vegan food because they like to come and they'll take prasadam. So they are good in one sense. At least they don't kill the cow and don't eat meat, and they are very conscious about it. But in human society, we know milk is very important, and we use milk. Okay, right? Who's there? Pramila Krishnan. Maharaj, people often comment if we are spiritual, we shouldn't give importance to external appearance, dress, jewelry, etc. Your take on that? Well, if we are spiritual, doesn't mean we should be naked and roaming around like sadhus in the Himalayas or something. We have a social situation, we have a social structure, and we have to be sane, accepted in society. For those type of things, we need to do certain things. You can say that don't deck yourself so much and waste all your money and looking after your external situation alone. That is maybe wrong, but basic requirements. You have a decent appearance. All these things are allowed. We do that. Prabhupada said, first dress and then address, he told his preachers. He said, be properly clean looking, nicely shaved, and present yourself nicely. Otherwise, people will think you're a mad fellow. Nobody will come near you. If you grow all this beard and hang around like a jungle man, nobody will come to you. Society wants to see you in a particular way, right? So all of us may not be interested, but I want people to say, oh, here is a person I can relate with. He looks normal. Don't look abnormal. Don't look out of the, normal. So basic things we should do. We live in a society and social acceptance is necessary for us. So we look after both outside and inside without any excesses on the outside. That's perfectly all right, practical. Jai Shri Rajesh, sound is very low. Hare Krishna, kindly note. Oh, is it so?
It's okay, Maharaj.
Okay.
There's a
Anjana.
hand.
Okay, fine. Is there a question? Please tell us something about Purushottam month, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Bhakti Vedanta Academy to everyone from Selvi Selvam. Well, we are in this month, which started on 17th, called Purushottama Adhika Masa. I don't want to get into the astrological details of it. Once in 3 years, due to some calculations and everything, you get this Adhika Masa, which is not considered to be very good for material life, for auspicious things, for conducting a marriage, or for making this, or for starting that, or this, everything. But on the other side, is very good for Krishna's devotees. It has got a potency in that so many thousands of times greater than ordinary auspicious days. So devotees at this time chant Hare Krishna more, they read Bhagavatam more, they read the Bhagavad Gita, they distribute prasadam, they give donations and gifts to the Lord, they bring him flowers, they put money in the hundi, they give something which is made for the Lord. The benefits for that accrue is multiplied many times if we do devotional service in this time. So devotees take advantage, and all over the world we are having many different types of situations and programs going according to the time of the country and the place. So we are also having morning Mangalarati, we are having chanting of the 15th chapter, Purushottama Yoga chapter, we chant in the 15th in the morning. Then we have Bhagavatam sessions, and we have sessions on great acharyas coming up. And in this way, we keep ourselves fully engaged. So at home, you could chant Hare Krishna a little more than normal. You could spend more time doing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita with your family members. Don't browse too much on the internet unnecessarily. Keep away from unnecessary WhatsApp things. Focus more on using the time carefully for thinking about Krishna and meditating on Krishna, because you'll get an immense amount of benefit. It's a discount period. You can quickly make spiritual gains. So Purushottam Adhika Mas is followed. For worship of Krishna and for devotional service to Krishna is one of the best. It's the best. So it's a good time for you to invest and reap good spiritual credit, devotional credit. So this is in short the glories of the Purushottama Adhika Masa is mentioned. You can see that. Okay, right. Om Tat Sat. Wish you all a great Purushottama Adhika Mas and a wonderful Sunday. Sweet dreams of Krishna. Alagu Ramya has raised your hand.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah. Alagu Ramya.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We say that persons who are sticking on to the Brahman feature of the Lord will merge into the Brahman, and person who are devotees will go to the Goloka Vrindavan. So what about the persons who are sticking on to the Paramatma feature of the Lord?
Those who are seeking the Paramatma feature of the Lord, they up themselves to the position of understanding the Lord's manifestation as Paramatma, as super soul in everybody's heart, as super soul of this universe, super soul of the whole creation. They understand his manifestation like that. Once they have understood his manifestation like that, they become more inclined to practice bhakti towards the personal, complete form of the Lord Bhagavan. And so they step themselves up from that feature to this feature. They become more inclined to practice Bhakti Yoga directly.
That means they have a chance to become a devotee.
It's not that they will end there. It's not that their destination will end there. From there, they become more inclined to devote themselves to the Lord. So, you see, Dhruva Maharaj, the story of Dhruva is there. He meditated on the Paramatma in the heart under the instruction of Narada Muni in the forest. 5-year-old Dhruva. He became very disturbed because his stepmother said, don't climb on top of his father's lap. She told him that, get out, that place is not meant for you, it's meant for my son. And he was hurt, small boy, ran to his mother. His mother said, I can do nothing, I have no position here because of your stepmother. All you can do is to worship that Narayana, the Supreme Lord. He only can bring you everything. So this boy took it very seriously and went to the forest to meditate. And he was met there by Narada Muni, who gave him instructions how to meditate on the Lord in the heart and chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, like that. In those times, he gave that instruction. And he did that, and the Paramatma manifested in front. He had darshan of the Paramatma. And he was very thrilled because he had come there with a material desire in his mind, saying that I will avenge my stepmother. I will sit on that throne. I will become the king. So this is what was his desire as a young boy. So when he saw the Lord, everything disappeared. He said that I no more have this desire. Once I have seen you, I simply want to be involved in loving devotional service to you. And so the Lord said, no, you go and rule. You become the king. He said, no, I have no desire of that anymore. I came with that understanding and desire, but once I've seen you, bhakti is swollen into my heart. I just want to serve you. So the Lord said, yes, you can serve me by being the king. And this way he became the king. He went back and he became the king, right? And he practiced devotional service to the Lord. So this is an example of how one who meditates on the Paramatma becomes elevated to the position of devotional service to the Lord and a relationship with the Lord. Okay? I hope that helps you. Right. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Good night. Wishing you all sweet dreams of Krishna in this Purushottam Adhika Masa on this wonderful Sunday. Remember Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. Thank you. Good night.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you.